Hey there guys, this is Sam
And Justin.
at the Survival Review, and today we are going to be talking about the horror classic American Werewolf in London.
Yes. Directed by John Landis, of all people, mostly known for his comedies like Blues Brothers and Animal House.
And this definitely does have comedy elements in
Yes.
it.
I wouldn't call it a full-blown horror comedy.
It's definitely more towards the horror, I'd say.
It's more of a horror movie with a lot of comedic elements in it.
You could definitely tell by a lot of different parts of the movie that John Landis, it's his sort of style.
Yes.
It's that sort of humor.
Yes, it is, and it all works wonderfully.
Yeah.
This movie's so entertaining.
It's such a fun movie.
Yes. So the movie follows these two friends, David and Jack, who are out in London, and they're just wandering around trying to find a place to stay. And they go to this pub where all these people are, and they see this
Pentagram.
Yeah.
And it's got some candles around it, and they ask a question, and everybody's all sort of spooky about it. Everybody's very
mysterious and just acting all weird. They're just let's just get out of here and go. And they get warned right as they leave, stay on the road and beware of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just on the road, and they end up kind of diverging off the road, and they end up looking up and seeing that there's a full moon. They end up hearing a howl and realize they're off the road. So they get worried and decide just to go back to the pub to be safe, and then one of them gets attacked and killed by a werewolf.
Yep.
That's the friend Jack. And David was also attacked by the werewolf. Then after being attacked, he wakes up in a hospital and finds out that he is a werewolf.
Yep.
And from then on, it kind of plays like your normal werewolf story, but with a lot more comedic elements thrown in there.
Exactly.
And some amazing special effects.
Yeah, really, I mean, when people talk about great werewolf transformations,
This movie has the best.
yeah, it's the best out there.
Hands down, this is the best werewolf transformation in any werewolf movie. From just the effects, to the makeup, to the sound.
It's insane.
It's brutal, but not bloody at all.
Yeah, it's not bloody, but it's discomforting.
And and uncomfortable, because you see his spine kind of pop out. It's he makes that
And
popping
hear
sound.
you hear the crunches and the pops.
Yeah,
and
as his hand stretches out, and you hear the bones crunch. And his face scrunches out. It's so well done. It's also one of the most unique werewolf transformations, because you really see him fully transform into the werewolf.
Yeah.
And the best part is no CGI.
None. It's all practical.
Yes, all practical stuff. The makeup for this movie, makeup effects for the movie was done by Rick Baker, who's done a ton of movies since then, and actually won the first Oscar for makeup for this movie.
Yeah.
That was the year they had the first Oscar for makeup, and he actually won it.
Yeah, and it deserves it.
Yeah. The cool thing is that Rick Baker also went on to win the makeup Oscar for the Wolfman remake.
Oh, really?
Too. Yeah, which is really
I didn't
cool.
know that.
So yeah, when you have Rick Baker involved, there's going to be some great stuff. And this movie has some of the best. Even the design of the werewolf is great. This has one of the best scenes of makeup ever in a movie, is that his friend Jack keeps coming back to talk to him, because since he was killed by a werewolf, he is kind of stuck in limbo.
Yep.
Now, so he's dead, but he can't really go to heaven, really. He's just stuck in limbo, basically. And you see him slowly decomposing as the movie goes on. And the first time you see him, it's only right after he was killed. And his entire face here is torn apart.
Yep.
And ripped apart, you see the little pieces of flesh hanging there. That's probably the best makeup I've ever seen in a horror movie. It's amazing.
Ridiculous. It's so good.
So detailed.
I can't even understand how they achieved that.
Yeah, it really looks like his entire neck and stuff was just torn out.
Mm-hmm.
It's so great. And then as the movie goes on, it gets more and more decomposed. We get to that final where he's just basically a skeleton talking, and it's basically a puppet, but that effect is awesome.
Yeah, it really is.
The humor in this movie is really good. I like the moment when they first hear the howl of the wolf, and then they see the moon.
It's a full moon. Beware the moon, and stick to the road. Oops.
And a lot of great lines in the movie, just them realizing that this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
David, please be rational. Let's go to Dr. Hirsch.
Yeah, be rational, sure. I'm a fucking werewolf, for Christ's sake.
But then there's also great horror elements. There's these crazy dream sequences.
Yes.
They first start out very simple, with just David dreaming that he's eating an animal.
Yeah.
Simple as that, and then it turns into werewolf Nazis shooting up his family.
Yeah. Insane.
Yeah.
Really just out of nowhere even, but I love those.
Yeah,
so
they're all
much.
incredibly well done, and even disturbing and just creepy at times. I will say that it's kind of a flaw of the movie, that sometimes it just kind of goes straight from something humorous into something horror, and the tone shift doesn't always kind of mesh perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just a minor flaw in
Very
this
minor.
great movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's like something. I could definitely see where that is a slight issue, but it's like a minor gripe.
Yeah, and even like they work with their effects limitations because the werewolf is not a guy in a costume. It's not a guy in makeup. This isn't the Wolfman. It's a full-on werewolf, like animatronic.
Yeah.
And you can see where the limitations is, where you never fully see the werewolf running because they can't show the entire thing. But they work with it, and then they work really well. They kind of do the Jaws thing where you don't really see the werewolf. You see glimpses of him until like the climax where you fully see him running around this town.
Yeah.
Which just results in like chaos. The best part is the werewolf doesn't even like cause half of that. It's just him growling at people and people like freaking out and causing crap.
It's just everybody else killing each other because they're so freaked out by the werewolf.
It's hilarious. Like the ending of that movie is just crazy.
Yeah.
And then the use of music in the movie is great too.
Absolutely.
They use a ton of songs that have to do with the moon, of course, but like it all fits in well. Like that's how the movie opens.
Yeah.
So you can tell just by the opening credit sequence what kind of like style and tone the movie's going for. And it sticks with that tone for the entire movie. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, and when I hear the song Bad Moon Rising, I think of this movie.
Yeah. I used it in the movie I made, and it was pretty much inspired by this movie. Yeah. That's like one of the best montages, because it's just a montage of somebody doing nothing. Literally part of the montage is him pacing back and forth. Yeah. As like the upbeat music plays, he's just kind of pacing. It's like... Just like keep looking in the refrigerator, just like I'm not hungry.
Yeah,
it's just great. I like the character of David. It's a fun character.
He really is.
He's like probably one of the most relatable kind of characters because he's just a normal guy.
He's just a normal guy who really got screwed over by a werewolf.
That's an interesting way to put it, but yeah, pretty much. Well directed by John Landis. It seems like a departure for him because it is more horror, and he's mostly full on comedy. I was surprised when my mom, who hates horror movies. And can't take gory movies, for some reason bought this movie on DVD, and I'm like, why? She's like, well, it's funny.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Never expected that.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect that from her either.
So, and also some stuff does happen really fast. Like with him falling in love with the nurse character, kind of just happens like really quick.
There's not really a whole lot of build up with that whole relationship. No. It's just sort of, they're banging now.
Pretty much. like she lets him stay in her place, and then she briefly mentions that like she likes him, and then next scene they're banging in the shower.
Yep.
That's like the immediate next scene. It's like, oh. Also one of the abrupt things that works very well is the introduction of Jack when he's first seen him, he's all torn up.
Oh yeah.
It literally is just like a plain old just like cut.
Can I have a piece of toast?
That's it. That's its introduction. It's great.
No, it's fantastic.
No like creepy reveal or big reveal, but he's just standing there.
I realize I don't look so hot, David.
It's not over the top. It's not silly.
Yeah.
This movie is still a horror movie, like at heart, but it has a lot of great comedic elements that makes it very memorable, and again, some amazing special effects.
Definitely.
Like you can't say enough about that first transformation scene. It's just one of the best.
It's insane.
It's really kind of crazy watching that, and then like watching the Wolfman remake, where whenever he transforms, it's mostly CGI, and it's not nearly as effective. It doesn't have the same brutal quality to it as the actual like animatronic.
It's tangible.
Yes.
Like it's something that it really makes you sort of squirm. I haven't actually seen the Wolfman remake, but I can just kind of imagine that like what you're talking about.
Yeah, it looks cool, but that's it. That's what makes a lot of the effects in this movie work, is the realistic nature of it, the actual on-screenness of it. It works really well. It's a good standalone werewolf story that sticks out from the rest. Like it really is a simple story. Dude gets bitten by a werewolf, and then it turns into a werewolf, and he has to stop that.
Yep.
Like, there's really nothing unique to it plot-wise.
The deepest thing you're going to get in this movie is, like, the should I kill myself kind of psychological stuff.
Yeah, where he's just thinking, like, should I really just kill myself? Like, there's a scene where he's on the phone with his family, he's talking to, like, his sister. He's just like, tell mom and dad, like, that I love them and stuff, and then he contemplates putting a knife to his wrists. So, like, that stuff's a little bit different, more dramatic. But in this movie, what makes it great is its execution and like the writing and the characters and like the humor. Yeah. That's what makes it stand out from most werewolf movies, or from it just being any generic kind of werewolf movie.
Definitely.
So out of 10?
Out of 10, I'd have to give it an 8 out of 10, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. Definitely a classic and one of the best werewolf movies. One that definitely needs to be watched if you're a horror fan, and just stellar movie.
For sure. It's, I mean, for the transformations alone.
Yeah.
I mean, not that it doesn't have other great things, but those alone make it worth seeing.
Yeah, those alone like put it in horror history as like a great movie, as a classic horror film.
Yeah.
So speaking of transformations, the next movie we'll be talking about is David Cronenberg's The Fly.
One of the best transformation movies ever.
Yeah.
And some of the best effects in any horror movie ever. So we'll talk about that next time. And until then, we'll see you guys later.